and girls, children of similar ages, welcome. I know you see me in a tie. I usually don't do this, but today is important. It's important for all of us to be aware of National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. I know it's a lot to say, but, but that's where we are. It is July, it's on the butt end of July, but National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm here with my good friend Bharath Kumar, who is teaching us all about it, how to save your mental health. So, Bharath, one of the things that we always talk about is around these parts in the daily flash is burnout, because we have so
Yes.
many different jobs, responsibilities, not just to the show but at home. How do we handle burnout?
Yes. Thanks, James. Firstly, thanks for having me on the show. And as you mentioned, this National Minority Mental Health is an important month to kind of create that awareness. Burnout is a biggest topic, right? So that's one of the challenges that everybody goes through. And if according to the American Stress Authority, we have 83% of U.S. Americans experiencing stress, and 1 million people being off from work as a result of that. And I think that impacts productivity, that impacts mental health and long-term wellness. It also creates anxiety and depression on a long term, right? So things like this, if you don't take care of it, it is such a challenge for everybody to manage. And also, if you don't address these things at an early stage, they're going to cause a lot of problem. As mental health also causes physical health, we all know. So the challenges of burnout are very, very expensive, in terms of your own future. Like, when I say expensive, it's not financially expensive, but it's personally expensive for you, because you actually will go through a lot of challenges in life that it not only impacts you personally, but people around you as well. So burnout is a big thing, and focusing on that is very important.
All right, so one of the things you say is check in with yourself. So explain that, because check in with myself is me with a cigar and a single malt scotch and sitting on it. Sorry. So how do you check in with yourself?
Yes, yes, yeah. Check-in is not like as if the new social media when you're in a restaurant. Check-in that you are in a restaurant, right? So it is actually an important thing, because when you are at work or when you're doing what you're doing, you never realize that you have a burnout, because you're continuously on the go. You have deadlines, one after the other. It's not that there's one deadline and you're done and you're taking a break. It's a continuous deadline, and our work styles are so, like, if you talk about IT, if you talk about non-profit organizations, if you talk about financial organizations, or anybody who's working on anywhere, you have work stress that is actually continuously going on. And if you don't check in yourself, meaning take that break and understand yourself, what is your how are you feeling today? So are you feeling irritated? Are you feeling not connected to what you're trying to do? Are you feeling frustrated? All of these are signals that you're getting burnout. Just taking that time to check in on yourself is so important for you. We don't do that. It just feels so. I mean, you just think that, hey, check-in is something that we should be doing. It's natural, right? But it
Right.
it doesn't happen. We do so much work, we prioritize our work than our own life, that we forget to do that. And that's why I think just rethinking ourselves and saying, hey, you know what, I want to do this check-in for myself, and I want to maybe across the day, a particular time during the day, just set it for that, to say, hey, think about yourself, see how you're feeling today. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling comfortable? Are you actually want to be away from everything and take a break? Then take a break. Just taking the time is very important to check in on yourself.
I would say for guys, it's of the utmost importance, because we're stubborn, and we don't really check up on ourselves as we should. We just suffer in silence, which is a bad thing, fellas. You can't do that. And you
Yeah, we feel
gotta,
good.
Barath has told you, you gotta check in with yourself. He gave you every reason to check in with yourself and not just sit on the sidelines and suffer in silence. It's okay. You're still a man. Go get, go talk to somebody, seek some help. It's okay. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out. All right. Now you also said, now this one kind of took me aback. So when we were talking about going back and forth and chatting about today's interview, You said something over about the 8 dimensions of wellness. Recognize your wellness spheres. Explain that.
Yes.
Because the 8 dimensions, I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, this
What is that?
I mean, like for everything, like having a framework or a structure helps you focus, right? So if people say, hey, take care of your burnout or take care of things, how do I take care of myself, right? So a guidance on how we can structure ourselves is what Samsha's 8 dimensions are. So there's actually, they provide these 8 dimensions, like we can start with, social, we can start with physical, we can start with intellectual, we can start with emotional, financial, spiritual, and I think I also talked about uh, occupational, and all of these actually make up those 8 dimensions. Where all of what I mean by those 8 dimensions, or what Samsha means by that, is each of them have a specific area in your life, like financial, like family, like occupational, is your work related. So trying to focus on all of these 8 dimensions about your life and how you feel on all those dimensions, like that's like checking in, right? Is similarly, now you have a framework to check in and say, how do I feel from a financial perspective? Is that adding stress to me?
Mm.
Am I feeling emotional? Like, are there emotions that are triggering to me? Are there spiritual things that I'm not been spending time, or is that something that I like or may not like? And how do I handle that? And how is my occupational, which is the work kind of related? How do I manage that? How is my intellectual? So just trying to put ourselves in a framework and checking in ourselves in all of these areas will give you an idea of how you are doing and what you may have to do to kind of make yourself well in that areas, and how can build your own wellness.
Okay, I mean, so now it makes sense because I was like 8 different spirits. I said, look, I got enough on me already. I'm already burnt out. Now I got to look at
Yes, right.
eight more things to worry about now. I thank you for explaining that. Now this is important, and I am bad with this, so I'm going to take full responsibility after reading this and understanding. You say build your self care schedule. I think a lot of people they claim to be so busy, but they will sit for hours in front of a phone looking at videos, and they claim to be so busy, and they make so many excuses not to take care of themselves, not to go work out, not to spend more time with family, not to just get out of the house, go walking. So you say build your self-care schedule. How do we not force people, because a lot of people don't want to be forced, they don't want to be told what to do.
No.
So how can we let's say what's the correct word, persuade them to put together a self-care schedule?
Yes, I think I love the way you said it, right? So it's like we have time, but we end up saying that we don't have time. And I think one of the biggest challenges that people face and why they don't do that is they think that there's no easy tool. They think that I have to spend ages to do this, right? Exactly as you said, I have so much to do, and I'm already burnt out. And you're asking me to do one more, I can't do that, right? So that's one of the things. Like in my book, Mind Fitness Through IT Strategies, I help with a tool which is, if you are in an IT or a project management or any kind of work you're doing, you do planning. And that's what, like any project you start, before you start a project, to exactly to your point, you do plan. So you say, hey, what are you going to do? Like, even if you're, as a family, planning a trip, first thing you plan is what date you're going to go on, what flight
Right,
you're going to take,
right,
like what hotel you're going to stay, right? So you do
right.
planning. So why don't you do that for your own life and well-being, in the sense that on a daily basis, take 2 minutes of your day and say, for today, I'm going to do half an hour walking, or half an hour workout, or 4 minutes for 4 times water break, or 2 times, like I'm going to reboot my PC 2 times so that I'll get some
I'm
from
tired.
some fresh
I'm
time,
tired.
right? So
Hey,
just
I
small
stubbed my
things.
toe. I gotta go lay down.
Yeah, exactly, right? Just 2 minutes in the morning, just have that plan. And you know what, the next day you can check back and say, hey, how did I do yesterday? Did I
Right.
really take those breaks? If not, how can I actually improve? Or if I did more yesterday, why don't I take a break today? And that way, actually, you wouldn't believe that 2 minutes is going to change your life.
So I got to ask you a question concerning that still.
Yeah.
For those, because there's an app for everything. Is there an app for this to make it easier? Because we do everything by our phones. Is there an app that you can suggest to everyone that they can
So
use to do that?
there is a Outlook, right? Or any mail calendar, right? You see what I mean? It's
Hold
just
on.
your friends.
We're Gmail kind of
Yeah,
show.
email calendars, outlooks, anything, right? Any calendar app will work for you. You're just saying, hey, 4 times I'm taking a break, half an hour I'm doing this. When you set up your meeting times,
Uh huh.
integrate this into that. And then it becomes part of your life, right? So if there's a pop-up box coming from your calendar, or
Yeah.
you have to do something, right? So it
Right.
just becomes, so you don't need a separate app for that. It's already there. It's just, to your point, getting used to that and putting out time to make it happen would help everyone.
So all right. No, you probably said it. I wanted because I was listening. How many hours should you give yourself? Let's say on a given week. How many hours should you devote back to yourself? If I'm working 80 hours a week, it's kind of hard to do self care to schedule that in because I'm always tired. But
Yeah.
how do I fit that into that schedule?
Yes. I think this is exactly the challenge with the burnout, right? So you're already burnt out. And so, but the one thing that we are not understanding is burnout is happening because you're continuously working, you're continuously doing things. When you take a break, the whole cycle of continuity goes away. It doesn't matter if that break is 1 minute or 2 hours. Taking a break is what matters, because every minute or every second, millions and trillions of neurons are working in your brain, and that is a lot of work. It's almost like a computer processor, heavily loaded, and it's just not able to do stuff. You can't do anything, you're only making it worse. So taking a minute break. So if you're asking me how much did I spend for my own wellness or across the week, I could say I've done 8 hours. But out of the 8 hours, for me, the real difference comes from that 15 minutes. That's 2 minutes a day or 3 minutes a day, right? Where you're actually taking a minute break, just calming yourself down, just thinking about, like, okay, let's be calm, let's just give some rest for my brain, right? That reboot is far more powerful. Yes, we need to do that physical activity, yes, we need to do other things. If you don't have time, and if you're really saying, hey, I'm really 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 stuck, take those minute breaks, and that will actually help you a lot more if you can't really spend that hour. But the guidance or the best thing would be if you can do that half an hour workout or a walk. That's more than needed. But you can't, and you're really burning out and you need that small break, take that minute breaks, and that is going to change how you, and those minute breaks will add up for you.
All right. So last but not least, and this is hard to do. This is hard to do even when you're in marriage. Lean on a trusted support person, right? How do it's hard to even talk sometimes when you're married. So finding somebody that you can trust and get the weight off your shoulders, so to speak. Like, what are the prerequisites of that person? Like, who should we be looking for?
Yes. I mean, to your point, I think a trusted person is always a challenge, right? It's like, how do you build that trust? How do you, like, that's why I think when I said, build, have the trusted person, it can be family, it can be friends, it can be anybody whom you're, interacting with. Where the couple of things that you really need to understand there to build that trust is somebody who is ready to listen to you, they understand you, and they're there to support you, and they're like your ally, they're just there to support you. So if you feel comfortable with your partner to be able to share that and have that bonding, that's a good start. Like, but if you're having challenge, it's fine, because we all go through different emotional situations. So you find a friend, right? A friend at a place where you go for sports, or a friend at work, or a work colleague also could be a good ally, because nowadays I think mental health is talked about a lot more at work, and people are supportive and they're actually ready to listen to each other. Because if you listen to them and they listen to you, you both have a trusted relationship which can help both of you. Like, so building that trustness is not just between your family, it can just be your kid too. For example, I know it sounds odd, but I think kids are so mature. They
Mm-hmm.
actually have a lot more. If you can open up that kind of a conversation and be transparent, and that can help them grow in their life. He's saying that, hey, I'm not alone, my dad goes through this and my mom goes through this, right? So we all go through, make it an open conversation, bring that together. You can build a community like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think having that, a friend whom you can talk to, or a family whom you can talk, it, like I said, the 1 minute break that you take, how powerful it is. Talking to somebody about your emotions and sharing it out has a bigger impact. It actually lightens your emotions, lightens your load, and actually could help you to focus a lot more, brings your calmness back and focus back.
So I'm going to say this. I was thinking about it because, I did say that was my last question, but I do have one more because, with it being National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, saying that again, say that 5 times fast. I want to say this, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but how do we get past the stigmatism for minorities going to seek therapy? Because I know a lot of times when they talk about minorities and therapy, the two don't usually connect. It's always some sort of thing or saying behind we don't need to go to the therapist or they don't seek help. So how do you break that? Since it is that month, how do you break that? How do you encourage people to go seek help, to go seek a therapist for different issues that they're encountering?
Yes, the point that you made about stigma, it's not just in minorities, it's actually everywhere. You wouldn't believe how much of stigma is there even currently, even though we were talking about mental health crisis and we try to create more awareness. So I think the first thing when we talk about stigma is creating that awareness is very, very important, because there's so many misconceptions about it. The fundamental misconception being, when you go and say to somebody, start talking about mental health, the first thing they feel is, hey, I don't have mental health. Like, they don't understand mental health is like physical health, and you all have it. We all have it. It's not that when I say mental health, I'm not saying you have an issue. That's a
Right.
misconception, and that's a stigma. That's why I think culturally, where we come from as well, they don't talk about it, or minorities don't talk about it, because they feel that if you have something, that means you become weak,
Mm.
and they don't want to be weak. So first, let's start breaking that misconception that, hey, having mental health is not a problem. If if you have a
Mm-hmm.
physical health, and if you have a happiness, a sad, or any feeling, that is mental health. We are
Right.
not talking about, do you have a mental health issue, or do you have a mental health complication. We are just talking about mental health in its state. You have it. How bad it is what we need to start talking and helping and say, yeah, is it a problem for a long time, or is it a short time mental health issues are common. Like, you can be sad for a week, that's fine, because something could have, there's so many reasons that people become sad. There's things that go wrong, and so you need not be worried that you're having a mental health crisis there. It's just a week. You go through it, you're out of it, and you're back to your normal duties, and you're fine. So trying to understand the difference between being in a crisis, or it's just a normal day-to-day thing, you're having different emotions, you're getting along with that, is very important. I think only concern is when you really get to that crisis stage, is when you need to start thinking therapist is required. You really need to go there, you need to go. And to your point, how do you know what it when you are in
Right.
that crisis? Understanding, knowing about these misconceptions, what mental health is, and in what scale, from like poor to bad or poor to good you are, you can then plan accordingly when you need to go and see your therapist. So it's very important to create that awareness and break those conceptions, so that the stigma can actually go away. But it is a hard topic. Everybody's working towards it, and I'm being an advocate for that, to stand up and say, you're not alone. We are all in this. We all have to share it. We all have to create that awareness.
Awesome. Barath, like always, thank you so very much. Amazing interview. I appreciate you. July, as you said, is National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. I hope you got some great information on how to schedule time for yourself, find that trusted person, and just learn how to seek help when you need to, get things off your chest, off your shoulders. So, Bharath, thank you so much. I know you're all the way out in Seattle, so it's an early morning for you. Thank you for doing the interview. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't say at the beginning of the show, but it is the Producer's Corner Flashback Room. We do a lot. Keep watching out for this, for more interviews. Bharath, the door is always open to have you back again. We appreciate you. Until next time, that's the Daily Flash for the Black Room, the Producer's Corner. Yes, I am the most handsome producer we have at the show, hands down. If they say anything, can they say anything? Nope, they can't. Hey, everybody have a great Monday. It's the start of an amazing week. Stay positive and just move forward. All right, guys.